Chapter 1. Don't Try. This chapter introduces the main idea of the book, not giving a fuck about things that are not important or meaningful to us. Manson uses the example of Charles Bukowski, a writer who embraced his flaws and failures, and did not care about what others thought of him. He also explains why we often try to avoid pain and discomfort, and how this leads to more problems in the long run. Chapter 2. Happiness is a problem. This chapter argues that happiness is not something that we can achieve by following a formula or a set of rules. Instead, happiness is a byproduct of solving problems that are important to us. Manson suggests that we should embrace our problems as opportunities for growth and learning, rather than as obstacles or threats. Chapter 3. You are not special. This chapter challenges the notion that we are unique or exceptional in some way. Manson claims that everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and that comparing ourselves to others can make us feel inadequate or superior. He advises us to be humble and realistic about ourselves, and to focus on improving our own lives rather than judging others. Chapter 4. The Value of Suffering. This chapter explores the role of suffering in our lives, and how it can help us grow as human beings. Manson distinguishes between two types of suffering, one caused by external factors such as loss or injustice, and one caused by internal factors such as fear or regret. He argues that both types of suffering can be valuable if we use them as catalysts for change and improvement. Chapter 5. You are always choosing what to give AFK about. This chapter explains how our choices reflect our values and priorities in life. Manson asserts that we have limited time and energy to devote to different things, so we have to decide what matters most to us. He suggests that we should choose what gives us meaning and purpose over what makes us happy or comfortable. Chapter 6. How to Stop Worrying About What Other People Think. This chapter addresses one of the biggest sources of anxiety and stress in our lives, worrying about what other people think of us. Manson argues that worrying about other people's opinions is futile and counterproductive, because it prevents us from being authentic and true to ourselves. He advises us to stop caring about what other people think so much, and instead focus on what makes us happy. Chapter 7. You're wrong about everything, but so am I. This chapter acknowledges the fact that no one has all the answers or knows everything about life. Manson admits that he is wrong about many things too, but he does not let this stop him from trying new things or learning new perspectives. He encourages us to be open-minded and curious about the world, but also critical and skeptical about our own beliefs. Chapter 8. The Importance of Saying No, and Why You Should Say It More Often. This chapter emphasizes the value of saying no when necessary, especially when it comes to things that are not aligned with our values or goals. Manson explains how saying no can help us avoid unnecessary stress, distractions, conflicts, or regrets in life. He also warns against saying yes too often without thinking it through or considering the consequences. Chapter 9. Failure is an option, and here's why you should embrace it. This chapter celebrates failure as an inevitable part of life, rather than something to be feared or avoided at all costs. Manson argues that failure can teach us valuable lessons about ourselves and our goals, if we are willing to learn from it rather than give up on it easily. He also shares some examples of successful people who failed many times before they achieved their dreams.